Alright everyone, so this is a very interesting one right here. We have the Galaxy A56 versus the brand new Motorola Edge 2025 edition. Stay tuned. Alright everyone, hopefully guys are having a good day. Hopefully everyone is safe out there. We have the Galaxy A56 5G on the left side, which is supposed to be releasing in the US for about $499. And we have the Motorola Edge 2025 edition that has just released for a $549 price tag in the United States. In today's video, we're going to be going over things like benchmarks of both these devices, chipsets and their RAM options. We're also going to be taking a look at the design and style of these devices, and of course the photos and videos that are produced by these devices as well. Alright everyone, so first and foremost, of course, we're going to get into the design of these devices, and obviously this is going to be a very subjective thing. One of you may like the Galaxy A56 5G, and one of you may like the Motorola Edge 2025. So in my honest opinion, I feel like this is a very matched design right here. If you guys like more of the pleather design or the more vegan leather design right here, then you may want to go with this device. One thing I do have to say about this device is it is a thinner device and lighter device. It feels very, very nice in the hand. 6.38 ounces compared to 6.98 ounces or almost 7 ounces in the Galaxy A56. And of course, we have that nice back on here, but I wouldn't say it's more premium than the Galaxy A56 5G because of course we have the brushed aluminum sides. Looks like this beautiful rose gold on this pink version of this phone, and of course we have the glass back. So overall, I feel like the more comfortable one in my hand is the Motorola Edge 2025 edition. However, I do like the flat screen on the Galaxy A56 and the very nicely built out design with that brushed aluminum on the A56 as well. So both of them have their pros and cons, of course. It just depends on which one you like better. In this case, I think they're pretty matched up on designs. I think they both are some very beautiful devices. Also pretty funny, they're both 6.7 inches, so they are matched in size currently. The design on the Motorola Edge 2025 is of course going to have that kind of waterfall effect where it goes over to the side, hence Motorola Edge. Obviously, that's going to be the big thing for this device. It's going to have that edge design and it's going to have slimmer bezels as well. So let me know in the comment section down below what design you think is better. Next up, as far as the resistance on the Galaxy A56 5G, we have IP67 water and dust resistance, and on the Motorola Edge 2025 edition we actually have IP68 and IP69, and we also have some pressure resistance in water as well. So that's definitely going to be the better out of both as far as like resistance goes. As far as in-display fingerprint sensors go, I'd say the Motorola Edge 2025 edition is the more solid device. I feel like it's a quicker experience than the Galaxy A56. Definitely less temperamental as well. You kind of have to hold your finger on the Galaxy A56 5G for a longer period of time. So I'd have to give that to the Motorola Edge. Last thing I do want to talk about the design though is the colors. The Galaxy A56 5G has 4 different colors. We of course have pink that you see right here. We have olive, we have graphite, and of course we have light gray. And on the Motorola Edge 2025, we have one color to choose from, which is Deep Forest. It's a very, very good color. However, there is only one color to choose from. Now getting into these displays right here, both 6.7 inch displays. We have a Super AMOLED display on the Galaxy A56 5G, and of course we have a POLED display on the Motorola right here. Both are going to be 120 Hz refresh rate. We are going to have the higher screen to body ratio on the Motorola Edge 2025 at about 92% compared to 88%. So a much better screen to body ratio on this, and we are going to have a higher PPI on the Motorola Edge at 444 PPI compared to 385. Both these devices, of course, are going to have different aspect ratios with that full HD display. For the Galaxy A56, we're going to have a 2340 by 1080p display right here and an aspect ratio of 19.5 by 9. Going over to the Motorola, this is of course going to be a slimmer phone. It's going to be 2712 by 1220p, and aspect ratio is going to be 20 by 9. So a slimmer aspect ratio right here. I feel like I do like the slimmer aspect ratio on this. However, if you guys do want more surface area, especially if you play video games, the A56 is going to be a better addition for that. Now, the very, very big differences between both these phones has to be the peak brightness on these devices. So the Galaxy A56 has a decent 1900 nit peak brightness on this device. I think it looks good. In direct sunlight, it may not be the brightest phone in the world, but I think overall for the price tag, it's pretty decent. Now, when we get into the Motorola Edge 2025 edition, this has an insane nit peak brightness. We are going to have a 4500 nit peak brightness on this. Very, very bright display. I think the brightest phone from Motorola of all time. So great job on that. Looks great in direct sunlight. As far as our features on these displays, the Galaxy A56 has the Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, and the Motorola Edge 2025 does have that Corning Gorilla Glass on here. Both have ambient light sensors and both have proximity sensors as well, of course, and both have HDR support. Now, getting into the hardware of both these devices, the Galaxy A56 has the Samsung Exynos 1580, and the Motorola Edge 2025 edition has the MediaTek 7400 Ultra. Also, as far as the GPU on the Galaxy A56, we have the Xclipse 540, and for the Motorola Edge 2025, we have the Mali G615. Both base storages are at 8 gigabytes of RAM. However, the Galaxy A56, I believe, does go up to like 12 gigabytes of RAM, but both versions of these phones, as far as the base versions, have 8 gigabytes of RAM. As far as the base storage, we have a base storage of 256 on the Motorola Edge right here, and on the Galaxy A56 we have a base storage of 128, so double the storage as the Galaxy A56. Both open up with Android 15 out of the box, so great to see that. As far as the update policy, Galaxy is going to have a better one with 6 years of operating system updates, and the Motorola Edge is only going to have 2 years of OS updates and 3 years of security patches, so definitely a better update policy on the Galaxy A56. And as far as the differences between these chipsets, the Galaxy A56 with the Exynos 1580 is going to have some advantages over that MediaTek processor, the Dimensity 7400 on the Motorola. We are going to have a larger memory bandwidth, so it's going to be 51.2 gigabytes per second versus 25.6 gigabytes per second, so double the speed right there. As far as our frequency, we are going to have a higher frequency on the Galaxy A56. We're going to have 29 megahertz instead of 2600 megahertz. So obviously that's going to translate to better benchmark scores and pretty much all of the ones across the board. Of course, Geekbench, we have a 25% better score. For our AnTuTu 10 benchmark, we have a 13% better score, and for our Geekbench multi-score, we have about a 21% better score right there. As far as like real world use, I feel like they're pretty matched overall. Getting into the battery capacity of both these devices, the Galaxy A56 has a 5000 milliamp battery, and the Motorola Edge 2025 edition has a 5200 milliamp battery inside of here. I'd say the battery life is definitely better on the Motorola Edge over the Galaxy A56 in real world use. Both of these devices have fast charging. We do, however, have fast and wireless charging on the Motorola Edge, which we don't have on the Galaxy A56. So we have a 68 watt wired charge and a 15 watt wireless charge on the Motorola Edge. On the Galaxy A56, we do have a 45 watt wired charge and no wireless charge on this device. Both devices do not come with a charging brick inside of the box though. Alright everyone, so we saved the most interesting for last, the camera comparison right here, and we're going to throw some photos and videos on the screen in a second. As far as our camera setups on both these devices, both are going to be triple rear-facing camera setups. On their Galaxy A56, we are going to have a main 50 megapixel camera. That's going to be our PDAF camera. Our secondary is going to be a 12 megapixel ultra-wide, and our third is going to be a 5 megapixel macro. Going over to the Motorola Edge 2025, we do have a 50 megapixel PDAF camera. Our secondary is going to be a 50 megapixel ultra wide, and our third is going to be a 10 megapixel telephoto lens on here. As far as the sensor that we have on the Motorola Edge, we do have the Lydia 700C on this, so we're going to be using the same sensor that we had on the Motorola Edge 2024 edition. Overall, very decent sensor, especially compared to the Galaxy A56, and I'm sure you're going to see this in the test. It does bring a better contrast to the photo. The photos are also clear, they're more vivid, and I feel like they're a lot less washout than the Galaxy A56 overall. Blacks are much deeper. That's one of the things that I noticed. And I feel like all of the colors are a lot better on the Motorola end of things. One thing, however, and this is the interesting part of this comparison, and I think you guys have seen this in my camera review on the Motorola Edge 2025, but the front-facing camera on the Motorola Edge, for some reason, in Full HD looks terrible. And you're definitely going to notice that between the difference of the Motorola Edge and the Galaxy A56. So that's one of the first things I'm going to show you. However, everything else in this test, the Motorola is going to be the winner of, and you guys will see that right now. And now we have full HD 30 frames per second. For some reason, this does not look good at all. I don't know why this doesn't look good. I don't know if it's just the viewfinder or something, but I look super washed out. I don't know what's going on with this. Motorola, you may need to give this phone an update, because this is really not looking good. Everything else was looking great. All right, everyone, so we have full HD 30 frames per second on the Galaxy A56. We are in the bright California sun right now, and this is how this is looking currently. Let me know what you guys think. This definitely looks very solid. I was looking at the Motorola Edge 2025 edition right now, and we're gonna put those phones head to head, but this is looking better. This is looking a lot better for some reason. I think it's a software issue though, so yeah, looking good so far. All right, everyone, so this is the front-facing camera, 4K 30 frames per second, and this is how we are looking so far. So far, this is looking pretty clear for the front-facing camera. I'm hoping for the same with the full HD right here, but this is how we're looking. Not bad so far. Let's see how it looks in post. And we also have UHD at 30 frames per second on the Galaxy A56. And this is how this is looking as well. Let's go ahead and walk around, give you guys a little bit of a walk-in talk. One thing about this device, for some reason on the front-facing camera, there is no 60 frames per second to be found. So that's not gonna be on here. But the 30 is just good enough. I know a lot of the mid-range phones have trouble with stabilization and things like that when you get into the 60 frames per second. So yeah, this UHD looks really, really crisp. All right, everyone, so those were the photos and videos on both these devices. Overall, in all honesty, I still like the Motorola Edge 2025 over the Galaxy A56. If you guys can find this device like I did, the Galaxy A56 for $350, this is an absolute steal, especially if you have the bands needed for it to function where you live. If you can get this for that price tag at $350, which you can on wirelessplace.com, go ahead and check it out. Link in the description down below. I would say get this phone. It's a lot cheaper. You're going to save a lot more money, and the performance is going to be pretty great overall. But overall, I'd still have to give the win to the Motorola Edge 2025 edition. I feel like the charging speeds are great. The battery is great. Of course, we have Moto Actions inside of here. Love it. The display, I feel, looks much better than the Galaxy A56. However, the Galaxy A56 still looks nice. But just that nit peak brightness is something beautiful to look at. And of course, the camera overall, if you want a better camera, the Motorola Edge 2025 is going to be the way to go. Also, the form factor is something that I like better. I do like a slimmer phone overall. But that's just my comparison between the A56 and the Motorola Edge 2025 edition. That's just my opinion. If you guys want to go ahead and leave your own opinions in the comment section down below, for sure, let me know. Leave me your comprehensive review of both these devices. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. But that was the Galaxy A56 versus the Motorola Edge 2025 edition. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. This has been Safan from TechRight. Peace. Peace out, Tech Gang.